Just rounding the back, letting the jaw and the neck release. Let's take 2 more breaths, just like that. And returning to a neutral spine, neutral tabletop. Let's curl the toes under, and on an exhale, push up into downward facing dog. Let's take several breaths here. Feel free to make this a dolphin pose. Let's bend one knee a lot and then the other, just stretching out a little bit through the hamstrings. And little by little, let's walk the feet forward toward the hands, coming into forward fold. And let's roll up, one vertebrae at a time, stacking the spine. Once we're standing, let's inhale and reach the arms up. And exhale the hands to the heart center. On our next inhale, let's reach up. Let's keep the arms lifted. And let's lean to one side. Imagine you're squeezing a block between the palms. With our next breath in, let's reach straight up to the sky. Exhale, lean the other way, squeezing into that imaginary block. Then inhale, reach straight up. We'll come into a high chair pose on the exhale, rooting those shoulders down the back. Let's take 3 full breaths here, sitting back a little deeper, putting some weight into the heels, lifting through the heart. Let's take 1 more inhale. And on the exhale, fold forward. Let's take 3 breaths in our forward fold. Lengthening on the inhale, folding deeper on the exhale. And let's roll on up, vertebrae by vertebrae. Head and neck come up last. Once we're standing, let's inhale and reach up. And exhale the hands to the heart center. Let's bring the backs of one hand onto the sacrum, and then just place the other palm on top. So palm in the palm, softening through the shoulders. We'll keep our left foot where it is, but reach the right foot back so we're touching that big toe. And we can feel, because our arms are there, that's going to make that right hip rotate back some amount. Let's even that back out again, reaching the crown of the head forward, drawing those belly muscles in and up. So we can either stay right here or take that left arm forward, balancing on that left foot. If we want to challenge our balance even more, we can start to lift the right foot off the mat, coming into this variation on Warrior 3. As you can feel, putting the foot on the mat can even help us be more in the core. So if that's where you're feeling like it's the most advantageous to you today, keep the foot down. Woo. Let's take 1 more breath. And then bring it all back to Tadasana pose. Tread out the feet. With an inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. With an inhale, let's reach both arms up. We're going to hold that imaginary block. Lean to the left. Squeeze that imaginary block. We're going to keep the hands together like they're magnetized, so they're hugging together. Then turn the whole torso like you want to look at the stripe down the outside of that left leg. Then tilt back to our side bend and back to center, hands to heart. Next inhale, reach up again. Exhale, lean to the right. Hold on to that imaginary block. Give it a good squeeze. Hold right onto it. And then we're going to turn it, turning the whole torso to look down the full length of that right leg. Then tilt back to our side bend. Back to center, big breath in. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's inhale and reach up. Hinge at the hips as you exhale and float down into forward fold. 3 full breaths in forward fold. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to fold deeper. 2 more breaths. Let's roll on up 1 vertebrae at a time. Once we're standing, let's inhale and reach up. And exhale the hands to the heart center. Breathing as we go, let's again place the back of one hand on the sacrum and just nestle the other hand on top of it. Then let's reach our left foot back so we're touching down on that left big toe. We'll use that feedback from the hands to help rotate that left hip forward and down a little bit so the hips stay completely even. Then start to reach the crown of the head forward and feel how pushing into that back big toe helps the core to engage. We might stay here. We might reach the right arm forward. If we want to take this more into balancing territory, we can start to lift that back leg and tilt until we make a big capital T shape, reaching in opposite directions through those right fingertips and the left toes. Slowly, slowly, let's tilt on back to neutral, back to Tadasana pose. Once we get there, let's inhale, the arms up, and let's just swan dive down on the exhale, floating on down, taking a full breath when we get there, lengthening on the inhale, folding deeper on the exhale. Keeping these deep breaths flowing, let's walk the hands onto the mat, walking the feet back into downward facing dog. And we can either stay in downward dog or take a vinyasa by moving forward into plank, lowering down to chaturanga, cobra, and back to downward facing dog. From here, on our inhale, let's slowly sweep the right leg back behind us and up. And on the exhale, we're just as slowly going to set it down again. Then the left side. Inhale, reach it back. Exhale, set it down. See if you can keep the whole leg really straight as you lift and lower. If you keep the hips very neutral like we just did, we'll also feel those strong glute muscles activating. Let's do 1 more on each side. Then from our downward facing dog, let's take our right leg back behind us and exhale, step it through between the hands. Turn that back foot flat for warrior 1. Soften the shoulders down the back. Let the heart lift. Imagine there's like a spring breeze that's floating just above the fingertips. So you can just barely touch it. 1 more inhale. With the exhale, bring the palms to the earth. Step back into downward facing dog. We can either stay in downward dog or take a vinyasa. From downward dog, on an inhale, let's reach the left leg back behind us and up. And on the exhale, step through between the hands. Turn the back heel flat. And let's make our way up into our warrior one on this side. Soften the jaw, soften the shoulders down the back. Imagine again those fingertips are touching something so nice, like maybe the first cherry blossoms. So delicate and soft. Let's take one more inhale. And when we exhale, let's come on down. We'll step back into downward facing dog. Or take a vinyasa if you'd like to do that. We'll meet up in downward dog. So little by little, let's walk those feet forward to the hands, coming into forward fold. Give the head a shake here, releasing the neck, releasing the shoulders. Then rolling up slowly, let's stack each vertebrae one by one. Once we're standing, let's inhale and reach up. And exhale, hands to the heart center. Breathing, let's bring the hands to the lower back. Stepping that left big toe back and reaching forward through the crown of the head. So we might stay here. We might take that right arm forward. We're going to do the same pose one more time. If we want to challenge our balance, we can start to hover that left big toe or we can elevate it. Imagine plugging in through that right hip and right shoulder, that there's a sense of drawing inward to center. And let's make our way back to Tadasana. Releasing the arms, let's roll those shoulders forward and back. And soften the shoulders, we'll bring those hands to the lower back again and step that right foot back. Connect with the core, drawing it back and in as we reach the crown of the head forward. Maybe staying right here. Maybe reaching that left arm forward. Maybe adding that balance challenge of lifting the right leg some. Tune into the exhale, feeling those strong core muscles working to help you balance. And let's make our way slowly back to Tadasana pose. When we get there, let's put a little softness in the knees, bringing the fingertips to the shoulders. Inhaling those elbows forward and up. Exhaling them back and down. If you're not feeling quite done with your legs, you can come into chair pose here. And let's change direction, inhaling those elbows back and up, and exhaling them forward and down. And let's release. Let's tuck the chin, and on an exhale, roll down into forward fold. Down, 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 very softly. Bringing the tips of the fingers to the mat. Let's walk the feet apart just a little bit, putting some softness in the knees. And from here, just gently sway the torso side to side. As we sway to the left, let's pause, touching the fingertips to the mat. Pull the hips away to the right. Give the head a little shake here. Then soften, sway across to the right, connecting the fingertips to the mat. Pull the hips away to the left, keeping that little bend in the knees. Give the head a little shake. And then soften back to center. Let's bring the palms to the mat, coming down into our tabletop pose. And from tabletop, let's release into child's pose. We can make a pillow for our head with our forearms or our palms. Let's let the eyes close and take a few breaths into the back body. Let's gently press our way back up. We're going to come around so that we're laying on our backs once again. So let's find our way down. Once we come down onto our backs, let's clasp our right shin and stretch that left leg out long. Take the right shin in the right hand and gently open the hip out to the right. Take a couple of breaths here. Soften that right glute muscle. And let's gently guide this knee across the midline, switching hands. Let's open that right arm out to the right and exhale, twist toward the left. Take a few nice long exhales here. And gently, slowly come back to center. Place the sole of that right foot on the mat. Draw the left knee in and clasp the hands over that shin, stretching that right leg out long on the mat. And just gently hugging this whole thigh in close. Roll those shoulders down the back. Beautiful. And let's gently guide this left hip out to the left, just holding on with that left hand now. Letting the hip open, softening through those left glute muscles. Nice deep breaths. And slowly, gently, let's glide that knee across, switching hands, opening that left arm out to the left, and exhaling into nice twist toward the right. Let that left shoulder blade stay on the mat. Face is soft. Coming back to center. Let's find a neutral spine. Feel free to add layers. And we can either come into Shavasana just in our active rest pose, or by stretching the legs out long. As we enter into Shavasana, I'd like to take a few breaths with an alternate nostril breathing. And we can just use our imagination for this. It's so good for the brain. If you are familiar with using hands for this and you prefer that, go right ahead. We're letting go of all effort of the breath. No more ujjayi, just letting the breath be as soft as a spring breeze. Then we'll imagine that as we breathe in, we're just breathing in through the right nostril and out through the left nostril. Then in through the left nostril and out through the right. In through the right, out through the left, in through the left, and out through the right. Back and forth. In through the right, out through the left, in through the left, out through the right. If that's appealing to you, please feel free to continue for several more breaths. This is a wonderful breath for helping to balance out the left and right sides of the brain. And let even that go. Letting go of all effort. Giving yourself the gift of this time of pure rest. Thoughts come in, just tell them, I'm still practicing. You'll have to come back a little later. And we'll let those thoughts go. Bring the awareness back to the breath. Nourishing the heart with the breath. Let's gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. Wiggle the nose. Take time to gently stretch. If that feels good to you. Let's make our way gently to one side. Coming through fetal pose. And using both hands to press our way up to the center of the seat. Let's close our eyes when we get there. Bringing the hands together at the heart center, bowing the head to the heart. Honor your heart for its courage, its resilience. Honor yourself for the good energy put into your practice and invite it to radiate outward to everyone whose lives we touch. May we all have hope, joy, love, light, and laughter. Thank you all so much for being here. Namaste.
Namaste.